Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. His face was even uglier than a frosted eggplant. When he saw the contents of the paper, his face turned from an eggplant to white noodles. He coughed violently and said, "Cough, cough, Captain Yunxiao, my body, my bones can't take it. Cough, my voice is too soft. Cough, let Jingnan read it. He's younger than me, and his voice is loud and clear. Cough, cough, cough." Jingnan's expression changed drastically, and he said angrily, "Old man Qiao, stop acting stupid. How could he have two illegitimate children when his body was weak? You can even hide a second wife?" His voice was like a great bell, and all of a sudden, everyone heard it. They revealed ambiguous smiles, and lewd sounds rose from all around. Xiao Luo blushed. "That's Ying Luo. That was when she was young," she said. Yunxiao took out a scarlet pill from his ring and handed it over. "Your body can't make it, right? After eating this 9 Revolution Golden Spear pill, your body will be like a fierce tiger and you won't fall for 3 days. Hurry up and eat it, you've earned big this time." Xiao Luo was so scared that she stepped back and said, trembling, my body is still okay." He wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. If he really ate that thing, his body would really be dead. He picked up the paper, his hands trembling, and began to read. "Humph." Yunxiao snorted and said, "Read it out loud if you're in good shape. If your voice is too soft, I'll give you some nourishment." Xiao Luo was so frightened that his voice suddenly became louder and more powerful than a young man's. "To all the brothers and sisters of the Light Song Forest, expose the heinous crimes that the Four Extremes sect has committed. As a member of the Merchant Union and the person in charge of 10,000 Treasures Buildings Branch, Xiao Luo, swear to the heavens that everything." Xiao Luo shivered as she wiped her cold sweat and continued to read, "As a member of the Merchant Union, I have the responsibility and obligation to announce the crimes of the Four Extremes sect to the world. During the period when the Four Extremes sect was operating in the Light Song Woodland, they had captured a large number of people for their young master, Tang Jia, to enjoy. No matter male or female, old or young, fat or ugly, regardless of race." He widened his eyes, wiped his sweat, and continued to read, and also bought a large number of soap, candles, whips, chrysanthemum expanding devices and other obscene items, and transported them back to the headquarters in Yang City. "I've heard that Tang Jia likes a hodgepodge of things, regardless of gender, type. Bang. Suddenly, a ray of light shot out from the Four Extremes sect's branch. It instantly pierced through the sky and was so fast that no one could catch it. He felt as if he had gone blind for a moment. He saw Xiao Luo's body explode under the light, and the poor old man didn't even have time to react before his body was destroyed. Immediately after, several powerful auras rushed out from the Four Extremes sect and spread out, shocking every martial artist. "Who is it?" Yunxiao roared angrily. "Who is it? Who was so vicious to kill Myriad Treasure Store's old master Xiao Luo?" Old Master Qiao was full of righteousness and was as loyal as the maple and frost. He did not expect to encounter such a vicious attack. "The 10,000 Treasures Tower and your Four Extremes sect are irreconcilable." Everyone fainted. Asking Xiao Luo to go up and read this kind of text was obviously asking him to die, but now he was calling it a thief. Moreover, why did he announce that the Myriad Treasure Tower and the Four Extremes sect were irreconcilable? It's none of your business if they're irreconcilable. Jingnan suddenly felt a chill run up his spine. He glanced at Yunxiao's eyes, which were fixed on him, and immediately understood what was going on. He shouted, "My money sect will also be irreconcilable with your Four Extremes sect. Old Master Qiao, your noble character and unquestionable integrity have existed since ancient times, but you've died a tragic death." Needless to say, Shenli shouted angrily, "Junior from the Four Extremes sect. If you dare to do it, you must dare to bear it." Old man Qiao had been a chivalrous and unparalleled hero all his life, but he had actually ended up like this. As a member of the Merchant Union, the Empyrean One Pavilion is ashamed of what you have done. We must avenge Old Man Qiao. We'll take revenge for Old Master Qiao. We'll take revenge for Old Master Qiao. It is irreconcilable with the Four Extreme sect. It is irreconcilable with the Four Extreme sect. All of a sudden, more than 1,000 people shouted in unison. Their momentum rose from the sky, and their voices shook the entire west side of the city. Soon, a few banners were opened among the crowd and held up high. Old Master Qiao's loyalty has been harmed. The Four Extreme sect is brutal by nature and angers both man and God. Blood for blood, clean up the scum of the Merchant Union. Everyone's heart turned cold when they saw this. These banners had obviously been prepared in advance. It turned out that Yunxiao had already planned all this before the gathering of mercenaries, and he had also planned to kill Qiao Luo. Although Qiao Luo's actions were shameful, he was still the head of a branch of a powerful force. He represented the face of the Myriad Treasure Store and had a distinguished status. He could kill such a person if he wanted to. A great fear surged in the hearts of Jingnan and Shenli. They felt that this young man's scariness was completely beyond their imagination. Many of the mercenary groups who were still unconvinced at first wiped their cold sweat and no longer dared to resist. It was Yunxiao who had wanted to deal with the Four Extremes sect, but now it had become a blood debt for the person in charge of Myriad Treasures Store. From being unreasonable to being a righteous army to punish the evildoers. Inside the Four Extremes sect, a silver-robed man stood with his hands behind his back. His face was extremely dark. Young master, that man is really the person in charge of Myriad Treasures Store. We're in big trouble now. Song Xiang went to participate in the gathering of the mercenaries and hasn't returned yet, a gray-robed old man said in a deep voice. Could something have happened? And why are these people gathering outside? The silver-robed man's eyes were like deep pools of water, and he had the aura of a superior being. He was the young master of the Four Extremes sect, Tang Jia. With a murderous look on his face, he said, "Do you still need to say? Clearly, they are targeting our Four Extremes sect. That idiot Song Xiong must have caused some big trouble, causing them to come and kill us." The old man frowned. I don't think Song Xiong is the kind of person who doesn't know his limits. Furthermore, the people outside dare to target our Four Extremes sect. I'm afraid they're not simple. What can't be simple in front of our Four Extremes sect? Tang Jia sneered. They're just a bunch of trash. Elder Yu, go out and kill them all. The old man was shocked and said in horror, killed them all? There are at least 1,000 people outside. Tang Jia also seemed to have realized that something was wrong. He frowned and said, then what do we do? But soon, his face turned cold and he snorted, it's just a little more than 1,000 people. It's not a big deal to kill them. Elder Yu's face was filled with worry. I'm afraid your identity will be exposed if we really attack. At that time, not only will we be in danger, but it will also affect us from doing that thing. Tang Jia's expression changed and he hid in the hall. He pondered and said, now that you've mentioned it, I'm starting to suspect that they're coming for me. What? That was impossible. The young master's trip this time is top secret, how could anyone know about it? Elder Yu couldn't believe it. Tang Jia's face became more and more serious. There's no such thing as absolute secret in this world. Even if that trashed Song Xiong had done something wrong, it was impossible for him to attract such anger. Moreover, you also heard the announcement of that trash from the Myriad Treasure Tower just now. It was almost all against me. He's probably trying to force me to make a move. Why did you force the young master to act? Elder Yu was shocked. Humph, Tang Jia replied coldly, first, it's to test if I'm really here. If it were someone else instead of me, they would only go out to reason with me after hearing those words. They wouldn't kill me. The second is naturally to let me kill that scum, and from there, take revenge on the Myriad Treasure Tower. What a good two birds with one stone, the person who came is really not simple. His eyes were filled with intense killing intent, which penetrated the Four Extremes sect. He said, who are you to target me like this? Young master, what should we do now? Elder Yu asked worriedly. If the other party is targeting you, then it's not good. Something bad happened? They're just a bunch of ants. So what if I kill them all? Besides, I think there's something wrong with this light song woodland, said Tang Jie ruthlessly. If it weren't for the fact that it's too important, I'd have no idea what it is. How could this young noble waste his cultivation time in this kind of ghostly place? Staying in this branch of the Four Extremes sect would be too conspicuous, and it would not be beneficial for us. It was better to kill his way out and find a place to hide. Quietly wait for that thing to appear. All right. Elder Yu's eyes narrowed. The people outside don't need to argue too much, just kill your way out. There won't be any martial honors in the west of the city, Tang Jie said. With our strength, we can easily charge to the south of the city and find Shen Feng of the skeleton mercenary group. He has quite a good relationship with our Four Extremes sect. The two of them turned into two beams of light and broke through the ceiling. Two rays of light, one green and one red, stood in the air and were about to head towards the south of the city. It's out, the murderer is out. Shen Li was the first to shout. Her eyes were shining. The man in the red light was exactly the same as the image of Tang Jie from the headquarters of the Empyrean One Pavilion. She immediately nodded at Yunxiao. Yunxiao immediately understood and shouted, "Don't let the murderer get away. Revenge for old Master Qiao. All martial royal realm experts, stop them." With a shout, dozens of light beams suddenly soared into the sky and surrounded the two people. Why are there so many experts? Elder Yu and Tang Jie were both shocked. At a glance, they saw that all of them were martial emperors. Could it be that a mercenary group had been fully mobilized? Elder Yu's aura sank and then exploded in all directions. He shouted, "All of you, get lost." With him as the center, a wave of power spread out like a flat surface, and everywhere it passed fell into a strange state. I'm the only one in this world. Domain. Bin Jie's expression changed drastically. This is only a small branch of the Four Extremes sect. How could there be a martial supreme here? He asked in shock. When he thought of Yunxiao's wild behavior this time, he seemed to have caught some information. Elder Yu stood proudly in the air and said coldly, "All of you, quickly retreat, and I will not pursue this matter." Yunxiao slowly rose into the air as well and said with a chuckle, "What a coincidence, he just happens to be a 2-star martial venerable. Brother Muwu, is it right for you to follow me?" Elder Yu frowned. Under his domain, the martial emperors were struggling to resist the pressure. How could this puny martial king still be able to talk and laugh freely? Muwu's laughter came from the sky, and he said, "I was right, and his strength seems to be even stronger than Lang Xiao. This is going to be fun." Muwu's figure gradually appeared, and the same domain spread out, clashing with Elder Yu's. A rumbling sound spread across the sky like thunder. At this moment, the martial royal realm experts heaved a sigh of relief, their faces covered in cold sweat. Wu Zun. Which mercenary group are you from? Elder Yu's face changed dramatically. How dare they openly disobey the rules of the 3 mercenary groups and send a martial honor to the west of the city? Aren't you afraid of causing chaos in the forest? Mu Wu sighed. Why are you all so long-winded? I really don't know how you all cultivated to the 8 desolates. Fuck, what kind of bullshit rules are these? The fist was the rule. Do you need me to teach you such a simple principle? Why were the 3 mercenary groups so powerful? Isn't it because his fist is big? The battle intent on his body gradually spread out, and the ripples in his eyes became stronger and stronger. He roared word by word, 2-star martial supreme, fight with me. Boom. Mu Wu circulated her vital qi to the peak and suddenly released it. His whole body seemed to explode as energy kept surging out. The space was squeezed with spiritual pressure by this huge force. The martial emperors' faces changed drastically, and their bodies seemed to be crushed. They retreated hundreds of meters. Elder Yu's aged face became unusually serious as he muttered to himself, "Peak 1-star martial venerable. The power of this pressure was constantly affecting the circulation of yuan qi in his body. The powerful fighting spirit of a warrior was stimulated, and he also had the thought of fighting. But on second thought, he broke out in cold sweat and hurriedly said, "Young lord, quickly head to the south of the city. I'll hold them off for a while, no one can stop me." Tang Jie's face was also extremely ugly. He was also a peak 9 stars martial emperor, so he could easily kill his way out without any danger. He didn't expect the other party to also have a martial honor. Although he was a peak 9 stars martial emperor and a martial venerable, he was still an ant below the realm. Unless they had Yunxiao's territory power or a powerful divine body that could resist the domain, they would never have any chance of winning. Without saying a word, Tang Jia circulated his yuan qi to the peak and rushed to the south of the city at his fastest speed. Elder Yu saw that Mu Wu was indifferent to Tang Jia's escape and was fully focused on him. He suddenly felt relieved, but he also became extremely vigilant. Although he was confident that he could suppress the other party, he did not dare to let his guard down. The mastermind who killed Old Master Qiao has escaped. Everyone, chase after him. Yunxiao gave a loud roar and chased after Tang Jia with a group of mercenaries. Among them, Bin Jia's speed was the fastest, and he quickly closed the distance between him and Tang Jia. The two of them ran in front and one behind, while a large number of mercenaries were constantly chasing them. Elder Yu's heart grew anxious as he saw this. He suddenly made a move and a white light shot towards Bing Jia. Mu Wu snorted coldly and took a step forward. The space trembled and the attack changed direction, shooting into the distance. "Old man, I really don't like to be distracted while fighting me. Although you're stronger than me, I'll tear you apart alive if you don't get serious." Mu Wu's eyes flashed with a cold light, and she was extremely unhappy. In his opinion, there was nothing more important than a battle with him and helping him break through the 1-star bottleneck. Elder Yu's heart was also filled with anger as he roared, "You don't know the immensity of the heavens and the immensity of the earth, you don't know life and death. Now, I'll make you regret what you've done today." With a wave of his hand, a dazzling golden hammer appeared in his hand. The entire space seemed to be squeezed by a great force, and it twisted around him. Along with it, there was also a monstrous battle intent. Mu Wu's face lit up with excitement as she laughed. "This is the feeling. I like this feeling." Elder Yu, on the other hand, was burning with anger. He wanted nothing more than to tear his opponent into pieces. His copper hammer emitted a golden light as he rushed forward. The entire sky behind him distorted and extended like a crumpled cloak. Below where the two of them were fighting, there were already no more people. No one dared to stay around the battle of martial honors. As long as one's brain was not rusty, they would know that it was courting death. From afar, Bin Jia kept attacking Tang Jia, trying to reduce his speed. Tang Jia was also furious from being chased. As the young master of the Four Extremes sect, he had never been in such a sorry state. He hardened his heart and immediately turned his head around. A treasured saber followed the flow and slashed towards Bin Jia. A crack appeared in the space and spread forward. He had also discovered that there was only one 9 stars martial emperor behind the other party, and he wouldn't have to run away if he killed him. Bin Jia broke out in a cold sweat. He didn't expect the other party to turn around and slash so nimbly. Moreover, the black spatial rift was extremely fast and arrived in front of him in the blink of an eye. If he was touched, his body would definitely be torn apart. Feather token. He instantly took out his profound level weapon and turned it into a shield in front of him, protecting his entire body. Bang! The spatial crack landed directly on the feather token arrow, causing it to let out a huge cry. The light from the token arrow disappeared, and it returned to the size of a palm in an instant, falling back into Bin Jia's hands. Bin Jia's heart turned cold as he saw the profound level weapon in his hand crack open, and there was no spiritual energy left. He was shocked once again. With just one strike, the other party had shattered his profound level weapon. Oh my god, what kind of blade is that? He focused his gaze. The treasured saber in Tang Jia's hand emitted a blood-red light, and there seemed to be a weapon spirit cheering on it. A strange force was constantly circulating on the saber. Even with his cultivation at the peak of the martial emperor realm, he felt a trace of fear. You dare to chase after this young master, go to hell. Tang Jia raised his blood saber again and a red light slashed down. The space was split open again. The crack continued to expand and rushed over, splitting the entire sky into two. Bin Jia was extremely shocked. His profound level weapon had already been destroyed, so how could he dare to face this kind of blade light and crack head-on? He hurriedly dodged to the side. However, he soon saw Tang Jia's ferocious expression as he rushed forward. Bin Jia felt his hands and feet turn cold. His opponent's strength wasn't inferior to his, and with that strange blood saber, each of his moves was fatal. If he wasn't careful, he would be cut in half. Under that powerful attack, he was forced to retreat. Tang Jia slashed a few times, but seeing that the other party only wanted to dodge, he didn't dare to fight. The strength of the two was basically equal, and it was difficult to kill each other in such a fight. If you don't dare to fight, then get lost. Suddenly, the sky darkened. Tang Jia frowned as he saw a huge ancient bell falling towards him. It was Yunxiao, who had just arrived. Seeing that Bin Jia was completely at a disadvantage, he hurriedly threw out the dynasty bell to help. Don't. Quickly retrieve your profound level weapon. What? Bin Jia shouted in shock, the saber in his hand is strange. It can cut your bell. A sneer appeared at the corner of Tang Jia's mouth. It's too late. Space-tearing slash. Break. He shouted as the blood-red blade light in his hand cut open the sky again. The space crack extended toward the bell. Dang. An ancient bell rang, and the dynasty bell trembled from the power of the blade. Invisible sound waves rippled from the bell and spread in all directions. The black spatial crack shook the dynasty bell and gradually closed up. The originally bright light on the bell's body was also dispersed by the attack, and it kept shrinking. What? Tang Jia and Bin Jia were both taken aback. The scene of the bell being cut in half that they had imagined did not happen. The most surprised person was Tang Jia. He naturally knew the power of the treasure Dao in his hand. Not only did it not break the opponent's profound level weapon, but it also shook out a powerful sound wave force, which impacted his body. At some point, a blue battle suit had appeared around him and dissolved the power of the sound waves. Tang Jia looked coldly at the dynasty bell that had returned to Yunxiao's hand and said, "What bell is this? 9th tier profound armament?" Bin Jia's heart trembled, and he revealed a shocked expression. This kind of profound level weapon treasure, normally, one might not be able to see it once in decades. Now, he had actually appeared in the hands of these two people. Who exactly was this Tang Jia? And what was the identity of this mysterious captain? Other than feeling heartache over the loss of his profound armament, his mind was filled with question marks. The Four Extreme sect is really rich, Yunxiao said unhurriedly. They just gave the famous 9th tier mystic weapon, the Vermilion Bird saber, to a martial emperor. Are you saying that you're wasting God's gifts, or that you're too rich? Tang Jia's face turned gloomy as he said, "You also know the Vermilion Bird saber. Moreover, you also have a 9th tier profound armament. You are definitely not a nobody. Kid, you're definitely not a member of a mercenary group. Where are you from? Who is the power behind him? And what is his intention?" At this time, the rest of the martial royal realm experts also caught up. They surrounded Tang Jia and pointed their swords at him. Tang Jia had an inexplicable bad feeling in his heart. Before Yunxiao's appearance, he did not think much of these people. At worst, he could just kill them all. As long as he didn't have a martial honor, who could be his match with the Vermilion Bird saber in hand? But now it was different. The other party also had a 9th tier profound weapon in his hands. Although he did not understand how a martial king could use a 9th tier profound weapon, he still did not understand. However, it was true that his Vermilion Bird saber was unable to cut through it. In fact, it was an existence that was on par with it. Moreover, there was a peak 9 stars martial emperor who had the same strength as him, and 20 to 30 small-time martial emperors. For the first time in his life, he felt that he had fallen into an unpredictable situation, and a sense of nervousness arose in him.